let's take a look and remind ourselves of all of the players that have gotten themselves the Victory Royale and are already going on to finals. Now we add, of course, Thomas, HD, and Tayson to that list. Game number 2, we came out with Toos and Patrick, and of course at the very beginning of the day, Janice and Vortex came out with a win as well. Now, 11 Sundown, we still have 2 games to go. I think with this all now happening, I almost want to turn attention to Vino, right? Because I feel like without Thomas, HD, and Tayson, these guys are allowed to operate, right? But is it too late? Sundown and Alex and Squeeze, they already have this lead.
Yeah, and Alex and Squeeze, we can start to look towards the triple so far to keep you just above that. But don't forget, with 2 games down, a win at any point in time gets you there.
I am telling you, man, this is it. Like, you know, Levin, these players are thinking the same thing. Okay, even if our points aren't the best, even if we've been eliminated out spawn every game, even if we get to game number 5 and nothing has gone our way, if we just get the Victory Royale, though, we can make it to finals, Levin.
Yeah, and
it's possible.
You probably want to do it in this session, right? Because obviously session 2, a whole bunch of players start flooding into the lobby, and you don't know how the dynamics will switch up in that case. And so, like you said, for a team like Joe and Vino, you know, okay, Kevin has to be out. We have to get those launch pads. We have to go on to win that game. And so if they don't wrap it up now, it's going to start looking really dicey moving forward.
Yeah, and the question really becomes, because everyone has access to the leaderboard, everyone knows for a fact that Tayson and Thomas aren't there anymore. Yeah. Does somebody else kind of look at the wins and say, oh, they're changing, maybe we go to the cavern, because Height's been so valuable so far this FNCS.
That is so funny, too, because that was one of the things we were talking about. Like, even before the show began, in a rehearsal, it was like, okay, how many duos can actually play Covert Cavern? If a duo is pulled from there because of the Victory Royale, does this mean we're going to start to see other duos flood into here? Because if they know how to play it, I mean, Joe and Vino haven't been doing well, right? So if this is just another duo that can come in, unless they have that kind of like bounce back performance, right, where they fill themselves with confidence, they say we're ready to fight. I mean, they've just been bodied by Tayson and Thomas back to back to back, right, Levin? Is this possible? Do you think even if someone else creeps in, maybe Joe and Vino could just say, look, sorry about that, we're good, we're awake now, we want a Victory Royale as well?
Look, it would be something you could do in theory, but I would give Joe and Vino some credit in that typically they do have good drops. I know they have been beaten, you know, the past 2 games against Thomas and Tayson, but typically they have good drops. If you don't have experience going Covert at all, it would be very risky to try and outdrop them there. You could suffer the fate that Thomas and Tayson suffered in game 1. So, you know, it's a decision you'll have to make, and you can't make that decision lightly whatsoever.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not like they were slouches there, right? Yeah. Like, they won the first game, and their drops have been on point. The problem is, Thomas's drops have been near perfect. He's gotten to that first forward drop spot nearly every single time, and if you're touching down and being the first one there, you also get priority on that bunny hop and getting onto the zip line. So if you're not exactly pixel perfect like he's been, and you're only close enough, generally that's going to be better in a lot of circumstances.
And it just reinforces what Levin has been saying this whole time, right? I mean, Thomas HD is in peak form right now. He is firing on all cylinders. And now when we look to the finals, right, I mean, you don't want to go there. If you know this guy's going to be hitting that loot and he's ready to fight at the moment the game begins, you don't want to go there. But for now, we'll continue this topic as we come back later on because we have another game on hand. So let's kick it back over to our casters to take us in.
Thanks so much, Zeke. 11 Sundown. I mean, this is just, once again, bars being dropped. I'm listening to the best anthems of the week so far in terms of what these guys are spitting. Reese, it is coming up for some of these teams right now. Analytics, Squeeze, Lusha, Fury, like, they're getting right there close to the mark, but not quite making it. Obviously, Thomas HD and Tayson, the most recent to kind of make it through that victory lap straight to the finals. What can he expect next?
I mean, the album's not even finished yet. 3 tracks already done, 2 more to go. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be those other 2 Victory Royales, right? Our top 6 on the leaderboard starting to settle. We see Andlex next Squeeze trying to be up there, but we don't have long to figure out. Here we go. Game number 4 is just about to start. Semi-finals, day 1, game number 4. Beautiful pans of a beautiful map. We have a bunch of teams all looking for the Victory Royale, but we're going to start things off at the Daily Bugle. No Aurelian Aqua going against Splash. Something we've seen game after game. No team managed to capitalize really at all yet off the games they get off spawn, but maybe game number 4 is the one for them.
kind of ironic too, because whoever ends up winning at the Bugle kind of controls the news around the map. They're the ones that end up pushing every other team as well. Splash and Jamson, no pickaxe, funny business all the way up top. They're going straight down into the newsroom and still don't have any weapons. Splash, my man, there you go. No! What looked like a present ends up being his demise. Jamson now all by himself. This is just going to be tough.
Yeah, the thing is with this, if Jam's fully disengaging, realistically, are you going to be able to get the reboot card? Are you going to be able to go back in? Like, there's so many teams in Bugle, and especially if this is a north zone, players are going to sit up around the volcano all around. You're not getting that card, you're not getting the reboot. So he has to make a decision here. What are we going to do? Am I going to play for points as a solo for the entire game, looting probably almost nothing because everything around here is contested? Or am I going to have to sneak back in here, try and get the reboot card off somewhere, maybe up to the north side of the map somewhere? Not entirely sure.
It's going to be tough. Definitely basically is untouchable. And then, yeah, not only, you're right, it's the mission on getting the card impossible. Where do you go after that as well? My question, too, based off of last game, what did Aqua and Noah Riley do? I mean, they made it off spawn. They looked really good, but then were kind of invisible for the rest of the game.
I mean, the mid was good, right? Early and mid, great games, but they had the exact same flaw that Tayson did, right? Or sorry, not that Tayson did. They went up at the same time. I was about to say, I'm waffling at this point,
What a
right?
flaw. I want that flaw.
I know. Oh, no, they won the game. What a problem. No, but they ended up trying to go for the height at the exact same time as Tayson was. And the reason Tayson basically won is because they took advantage of that height retake that weakened the high ground, right? They didn't have such a great attempt at it. And you know, like, no, I was going to say Aquarelli. That's a great combination of their name. I think that's the way it's going to be from now on. You know, if they mess up the high ground retake, it's over for them at that point. And that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you have to not only pick a perfect time to go for height, you have to make sure you're not kind of, you know, crashing midair when it comes to going for the high ground as well. You're ending up just dealing with one team, and now it's with, 3-4 at the same time. So, yeah, King of Height having a few issues on getting that kind of motto solidified inside the semifinals, but there's still 2 games left, and that includes this one entirely. What a shot, Harpoon combination, the pinch is there. Julius can't actually find anything after that, though. The shots are going to be good from the backside. I like the insurance where he's on top and Nipsey's the one doing the dirty work inside the box.
This fight, without this format, we wouldn't have seen it, because this was the home of Janus, who obviously qualified through in that first game, so they've opened this up. And one of the things I'm interested in now is this is Skyzoo who ended up landing here, so now, in the south side, when we're seeing of Sleepy Sounds, that's going to leave Flois and Andrea uncontested there. You know, we saw those fights going on in the first couple, we've seen that switch up the drop spot, so interesting to see later on how they kind of play. Can they pick up a victory round?
Vino and Joe, Cruel and Kane, head-to-head, no Thomas and Tayson. So they had to basically go all in, it seems like, for the spot now. Timing's going to be good for them too, Reese, right? They don't have to go for that initial 50-50. Don't have to be damaged on shield overall. This is kind of what we saw Vino and Joe do all throughout the qualifiers. Same type of game. And if that happens, they could also be slid up to win.
They're basically nearly bottom of the leaderboard based off their off-spawn performance so far. So this is going to be the first game that we're going to be able to really see how that plays out, as long as they don't go down to Kane and Cruel. But Mustache and Malabuka, now this is a fight that's interesting, because yet again, Fraction and Coop have pulled on round this way. Remember, we've seen them contesting Seti and Chapix. Now they've consistently moved into this. I'm wondering if they switched the drop spot up for this particular match, because they're just in this area yet again. But this time is a full duo.
Yeah, Fraction's group, I think, definitely just left sleepy. There's no chance that they're here this early unless they spawned with super peppers. I just got the super around the entire map.
You never know. They could just spawn with the super peppers. We're not them.
Unfortunately, I feel like this fight doesn't help either team when it just lasts this long. Mustache Malabuka can't farm anything. But Mustache is being a distraction. Malabuka, meanwhile, chopping everything down. At some point, you have to realize, where are one of the players? Why do I hear an SMG, but the shots aren't firing at my builds? Something is wrong, and there we go. That's exactly what Coop and Frack end up figuring out, all the way up towards high ground. It's still looking kind of messy overall. There are no all-ins, but it's 2 teams that don't really like going for that super all-in, right? I mean, Coop kind of showed us how him and Frack like to fight against Toos. It took 5 minutes for them to finally go down.
It's very painful, and we're seeing that right now. Both teams have almost no materials to the name. Malabuka on the top of 10, on the bottom, Fraction with 2. And this is it. They've really utilized all of those. We see the chop down coming, but at the point where you start to see the spray coming on through, I was about to say you're going to see another team jump in the box. That's exactly what Coop does right there, trying to capitalize on that split. No heals on Malabuka, so we're going to see him left on 70 HP. See what we can do.
Third party. It's coming in. It's not just two teams now. This is tough. All the damage both teams have done. Lots of work. And Malibuca finally gets one. Turns around for the two. That could be a huge refresh they need, but from all sides, it's pressure time. And they have to make sure they base up and get ready for this next fight.
Malibuca has no match. He doesn't realize he's still trying to hold at that moment. He's going to have to start just trying to hit a shot. It's Pickle and Melgard who are rotating their way through. Malibuca can't even jump up, can't heal, can't do anything. He just has to play pumps out, potentially SMGs out. He's going with a big angle. He hits the 72 shot, but no, he's tracked back at the same time. Now in HP, more shots connected. He's so difficult to hit, but unfortunately it's going to be an end over run for him. And Pickle and Melgard are going to win that fight. 4 eliminations total to their name. Look at the loot that they have in their inventory. Absolutely stacked.
A vortex of chaos of spawn between all three teams. Have to be able to watch that one pack real quick. It seems like after every good fight, Fast Rookie also gets an elim somewhere across the map. And that happened too. But yeah, to at least be able to know what's going down with his teammate and try to get something happen.
I think the understanding that he had no materials came a little bit too late, however. Like, you saw a couple times trying to hold a wall where one doesn't exist, where Mustache had to take over instead. So they potentially could have won that fight. Realistically, like, none of us would have won that fight from that specific perspective. They're incredible fighters, but it's just the micro movements like that that could potentially turn something around. We'll see the next couple games, though, you know? Well, the next game, sorry, only one left.
Always used to the 6. Yeah, we have one less overall as well for some of the consistent teams that like to pop off a little bit later, right? You're mentioning Analytic Squeeze. I feel like they're a back half team, no doubt, on days. They're also a back half team when it comes to games overall. Sometimes not finding their footings in game 1, 2, and 3, but then coming back in 4, 5, and 6. Reese, they don't have the 6. A bunch of those teams do not have the key ingredient to winning and qualifying for the next stage.
Absolutely not. This is a little replay of that fight that we just watched there. Taking ABL. This is their draw spot where they went in qualifier number 2 as well, up against Diox and Wolfar at the same time, and little clap. Golf clap. Golf clap for the win.
That's what we like to see. There's a lot of emote options for a little bit of that BM, but I'm liking the clap. Keep it respectful.
Yeah, that's respectful. It's, you know, you could go way worse.
Seti, Chapix, when it comes to them, I'm not sure if the competition is getting worse off for this duo game after game, Reese, because they seem to be in better and better spots, but I'm not seeing a victory royale. And I know last game they survived all the way towards the very end, lost the control a little bit. Top 5 is great, but what's happening? Why isn't that consistent?
I mean, in all honesty, I think Seti struggled this season overall. I truly do. He struggled to find a teammate to start with. He started playing with Noah Rayleigh. That didn't work out. iDrop was in there, and then Chapix now. I think there may have also been another player at some point he was trying out with. And I feel like he's not got the, you know, almost GOAT level status this season as he has in previous. I want to see the performances coming out for him. Potentially it's just he's not been able to figure it out in duos as such as he had absolutely mastered and nailed in trios. He is an absolutely all-star player, undoubtedly, but I've just yet to see like the big performances that I hope will come in time for the finals, assuming obviously that they qualify.
Well, they have to over 3 days at least too. Big thing with that zone pulling to the bottom right, you saw it on the map. I saw some research done on Twitter. Usually I don't have the analytics myself, but here we go.
Yeah,
this zone, the bottom right side, only 16% of the time does it actually lock in terms of zone 1-2. A lot of the times you see games played on the top left side of the map, the northwest. That's about a 27% chance of the zone going that way. So when it comes to the zones entirely, it's like 27, 23, 22. The bottom right at 16. Not many players end up playing the game inside even second, third, fourth, especially end game on this side of the map. So the adaptable players who like to play mid-ground, especially Refs Guard Scram when it comes to the way we've been seeing them play today, they will be at a huge advantage. And I'm glad we're watching this POV because they're setting it up already, right, Reese? We got the gauntlets in hand, the web shooters. We have the whiplash as well to get past this hairy portion of the zone. They're so used to it now. We've kind of gotten used to watching Refs Guard and Scram be outside of zone, go all the way from the top left to the bottom right of the map. But this will be the ultimate test to their game style.
Firstly, as you mentioned, these guys are not getting good zone RNG. These are a lot of south zones. They're a north zone team, but also because that zone's pulling into the kind of southeast side, with the Spider-Man's web shooters that they have, there's going to be a lot of trees that they can use. They can jungle their way through. They can swing all the way past. I think these guys could have some pretty easy rotates up until the 5th zone. Hopefully not caster cursing them as I say that at the same time, but this game is definitely set up for them to do well as long, just assuming that they can actually get into that position without being beamed on rotate like they are kind of right now.
I'm liking the driving from Scram. Refscar 2 is just there like, yeah, shoot at me. I dare you. Sanji from up top does not even try to get another shot in. I'm pretty sure he did some damage, so that's really good. They save all their tires too. They can definitely use that whiplash later on. You got to remember the second zone, if you have vehicles, you want to keep them healthy, keep them alive, hopefully have the tires online as well. Surge should be coming in soon too. He's 75 alive. There it is. Instantly locks in. That's what we like to see. 180 above for Dizipdos and Gonzel. They're looking good today.
Yeah, one of the things actually that for them right now, they're in an okay spot, right? Notice like the layer that they're on. It's just like one layer off the ground. Not great, in all honesty, because the sight lines that they have over these hills isn't that far. But saying that, there is a lot of trees around them, so that extra layer or two elevation probably wouldn't actually open up their sight lines that much. You can see over to this side in particular, right? There's that hill right next to them where they're just cut off. Potentially, if they'd gone up a layer or two, that is the congested side of the zone. They might be able to get a little bit more tags on teams rotating. They're okay with Storm Surge now, but maybe for later zones, that's not going to be enough.
Not at all. They're still going to be consistent throughout the day. So is Scram. When it comes to Zcod and Andy, they had that one game of kind of limelight where they were on height, but then unfortunately past that, you know, it's either a whiplash in the business or Andy is down. So some teams going through some struggles. Kiko, though, with Mosh, I mean, Mosh has been the one that's been more active. Usually you see Kiko with all the elims, the crazy man coming in, the youngin that just goes and dives into every box. But so far, Mosh has been carrying, I feel like, the elims throughout the day.
Definitely, but this zone in particular, this is a home zone for them. This is where they drop. This is the spot that they've been dropping through all the qualifiers. They've been battling left, right, and center for this. And it's actually Ziandi alongside Alex Cod who's been third-partying them off spawn so far. So we've got the two perspectives of the two teams who have kind of had that home zone opportunity for them. So for Kiko and Mosh, like, this is the time to shine, right? They've had that kind of early engagement already. They've got some surge ticked off. They're in a good spot in the zone. Let's just see what they can actually make of that now.
The one thing I like is the different personality of teams. No way, Rayed.
Dead on Red.
That's like a Spider-Man 2 POV straight out of the movie. That is just tough. Oh my goodness. In a game 4 as well, right before the next one. You
both of them at the same time.
Were they both alive there? That's both of the same exact There's no way. I don't like replaying that stuff a lot of them, but I gotta see a replay of that possibly. Was it a shot?
You'll see a replay on Twitter. Guaranteed it. On Twitter right now.
Don't let it distract you from the Storm Surge issues you're seeing right now. Some of the solutions that this team's having. Nosh and Kiko, usually, I mean, you saw it before. Teams struggled, get some damage down, but Nosh finds a knock and almost an elimination almost too. Inside the zone, still 4 below. They need one more shot.
Trying to go for the double spray through the wall, and 72, so 2 more players still need to go down, and they're literally 1 bullet. If they connect with a single one of these, that's going to put them up above the threshold. And all the teams around them right now who have ears on them understand that these guys are weak. Now with that big beam coming through onto Mosh, the Chug Splash is wasted at this time. Any team in this vicinity will understand that these guys are weak. They can set up traps for this. You've got guys like Q-Roll, I think, on that far west side from them right now, who could easily just try and set up a trap and let these guys push in. But no, the team below them on the threshold has actually gone down, so now they are up above. And they're just okay, but now look at what has been drained from that. So many heals. All of the Chug Splash is gone. Only heals remaining now being 2 bigs and 2 minis.
A lot of the times you can use those heals to end up taking zone a little bit to use your mobility in endgame. They won't have that option. Scram and Earthstar is showing us exactly how the web zip and whip properly, all the way up to a recyclable launch pad that just spawns with the zone, with the game. They'll be able to use it and have a free rotation in. But I like the fact, Reese, that they wait a little bit for a lot of teams to get ahead first, take some of that pressure, the distraction, and then follow their builds in from one of the sides. Everyone's focused on low ground. You're talking about the trees. This is why I like that call out, Reese. They get in almost perfectly, no damage taken, and that's just a great swing from them.
Yeah, talking of swings, some of them aren't always going to be as fortunate as others.
Oh, man.
We're going to have a replay of exactly what goes on.
What happened? One shot?
They got shot
That's
out. Vino shot them both out on their swing as they were going. You have to be careful when you're at high elevations with it. If you get sprayed out, that will still give you that fall damage. That's rough. For both at the same time.
You know what? At least they went down together. You know, that's the one thing. As teammates.
Brothers. Yeah.
Brothers, yeah.
That's definitely gonna grow their chemistry as a duo.
Yeah, definitely gonna get the voice comms active inside the lobby before the game.
I'm opening Stena Twitter right now.
I want to see the zone with Seti and Chapix. They're aimed in for the moment. Did they actually get one of the best positions in zone, I feel like, if this base is actually in? That to basically be the airport security, right? Just get to see who comes in and goes out completely all the way down to the final wire. They get to even influence who's beside them. And I like the fact, you were mentioning it, Reese, before, sight lines, having them perfectly situated. They actually build up a little bit more because there are mountains and trees across, and now they have even more angles.
I mean, these guys are veteran Storm Surge players at this point. Like Seti in particular, a player I rarely see struggle with Storm Surge. Chapix, another one of those players who is always able to capitalize on players who are being tagged by Surge, right? Able to really take advantage of that. But another one of the reasons why they're elevating there is notice that's the congested side of the zone, the north side. A lot of those players are going to rotate into them, and if they're in a low layer, they're going to get built over. So if they're just built up a little bit, a lot of those players will be down below underneath them, giving them that good height for that later zone, hopefully if they end up pulling fit.
That's the POV of a team that's actually bunkered down and ready to go when it comes to playing the zone. For Analytics, squeeze kind of more nomads overall, and they lose one of the tires. This was a win condition for Seti and Chapix. It's a win condition for Analytics and XP2 to have that vehicle up, save a lot of materials, and get towards other portion of the game. That will not be an option now. Still 111 points for them. 74 for Scram overall. That's kind of our top 6 POV entirely, so they're still doing good.
Yeah, the zone's still not great though. Like they've managed to use the Spider-Man again a little bit closer, but there's still a lot more to go, and look at how many people are in front of them. 153 below, now 77 below the Storm Surge with a long way to rotate, but this is the best reason why you're going to stagger like this. They get to the midpoint of the zone, spray the people at the front who are using those launch pads, get their tags off, and then rotate, but it's still not been enough yet.
Have to solve this puzzle though. Scram on the left side. Let's see William already in. They're swinging right behind everyone's builds and aren't even shot. Build all the way up. A few errors in switching materials, but it's all good. Scram finally taking some of the first damage. You've seen this dual take. And the first shield crack leads to absolute demise. Scram is down.
That's the risk with staggering like that, right? They let the other players catch up, but then they could be held from that exact same thing. Rescard now left as a solo with almost no hard materials. Luckily, the big beam's coming out on the way to travel back, to clap back to get the Storm Surge up above yet again, which was fantastic. But as a solo, again, is this going to be victory? This has to be some point for the leaderboard to try and get them from 6th where they currently are, hopefully to stay there.
Yeah, they are the line that every single person in this lobby is trying to cross. Solyum and Lecce looked comfortable before, but that bed quickly has its springs wrung out, and they are uncomfortable now inside the lobby, waiting for the next game. Andalex, first place overall POV of the lobby in terms of consistency. Can they escape with a win? Are they fine being here and just leading game after game? They've got 2 more to bunker down and hold it with, though, and they're still controlling that low ground.
Any team right now is comfy on a bed with springs. This is a hotel bed for Andalex next squeeze. Their comfort is through the roof right now. Materials refreshed. They're in a great, I was going to say great position in zone, but now they've just pulled a max distance zone. So maybe spoke a little bit too early, but they do have that whiplash box up there, which I'm not sure if it has been destroyed at this point, but they can rotate around the south, the dead side. Notice all the players who are congested up on that north, they may be able to go down the south. But for Raphael and Crazy, they managed to get themselves a little launch pad and get ahead anyway.
Early pad, everyone's still worried and figuring out what to do. They skip that entire pressure moment. Fast Roki on the box, and you can smell him. He sees Refscard. He's found out. You cannot hide from Fast Roki, and he picks up that free elimination. It will hinder him in time. Every team has to move.
That's huge for Refscard in a negative way as well. He was sick. Now going down before the zones start going, the placement hasn't really even started to kick in yet. So this leaderboard switch up is going to be massive going into the final game. So for next game, we have to keep an eye on Refscard and Scram if they're going to be able to keep up in the leaderboard.
Who's trying to pass them right now? Who can take over their mantle? It's Seti and Chapix on screen. Vortexia also down. Pickle ends up screaming as he gets taken out. Melody denied by Preciptos and Relvis. So everyone is alive, but that's on the backside. It's Preciptos going down on a trade. Seti and Chapix were looking at their box. They were literally at the top side, at the pinnacle of this zone, and they pull the next one again.
Deceptos and Kinzo there were in 5th as well. So currently our 5th and 6th place teams are out. Seti and Chapix, who is in 7th, is easily going to be able to overtake them if they manage to have a massive game here. If not, just pick up the victory royale, whilst our first place team of Andalex and X-Squeeze are still in it as well.
At the top of the ladder, they're looking down at the rungs fall, and Andalex and X-Squeeze are happy about it. No team to be able to come up and catch up. All the ones that are important are falling one by one. All they need to do is make sure this zone run, this maximum pull, the distance works. And they're inside the vehicle. It's at 1/4 of HP, 85, and they finally get out. So greedy, but it works.
Yes, Seti and Chapix in the bottom left. Noah and Aqua in the bottom left, actually. I meant the other direction. I don't know mine either. But here we go. The box started to jump in, and the players at the backside, Noah and Aqua, probably going to have to start to go for high ground at some point. But no, they're getting an engagement with Flodax. The team that they're fighting off spawn at the opposite side, they're deciding to disengage, not get into that full engagement. But look at the materials, 39. This is not a game-winning loadout. As the players start to go past the box, they get in. Noah's down. Aqua also down at the same time. Flip-flop all over the place. But up on high ground, the team who's managing to keep things sturdy, keep the concrete under their feet is Joe and Vino up on high ground.
You can hear it. Peace. Tranquility for Joe and Vino, but it's interrupted quickly as well. This comes straight all the way up for height again. This man can't stop. He's hungry for it. He had one taste, and he gets denied a dish. Best served cold is revenge for Joe and Vino on that one. They were denied in that game number 3. This time, they're not going to be there to be able to get stopped at all. The people that were stopping off spawn, not here whatsoever. Tace and Thomas have gone through the finals, so height will be free for them for now. Seti and Chapix, though, on mid-ground, they're going to have some trouble navigating this layer.
Still got plenty of materials left to the name, but notice they're still in 7th place right now. They haven't even overtaken the 2 teams who managed to be eliminated by them at this moment. So great positioning awareness from him, but they're going to have to ensure that they keep going deeper into the zones if they're going to be able to up on the leaderboards.
17 teams still inside the business, and one person straight on their floors. It could be an easy pickup, but it's going to be on the left side. Fast Roki jumping up and down in the box, trying to feed Kylie of this trap, and Seti and Chapix will not be able to capitalize just yet. Flodax goes down, and everyone has a moment of peace before that zone locks in again.
This looks like it's going to be Joe and Vino's game to win. They're set up for victory right now, up on high ground, but down on the mid. Seti and Chapix still managing to tunnel their way through, down to only Wood remaining. This is the point where these players are going to go for a refresh. The pre-edit play comes in. The double spray comes down with a high fire rate weapon. The player dropped into their box, but no, he's managed to escape, get out. They're going for it yet again, but those players have disengaged. They've dissed out of there, and it's not going to be the player that they can pick up the elimination on.
X squeeze down in the zone on the backside. It's Milad who's fighting him way in the past in a different game entirely. Meanwhile, in the current present, looking to the future, Vino and Joe are on high ground. All in on their materials, though. It's Wood. The reconnect is there. Positioning perfect from Joe and Vino. No pressure whatsoever, and no team close enough to be able to take height. They control the launch pad for a win, but for Joe and Vino, this looks too easy.
It is Clement left as a solo, losing Floki out. This is just a day of solo pop-offs, and here we go with Clement now. 0 builds to his name. The player down below underneath his box. He's going to have to start aiming, getting the shot through. The 90 connects, but no, the zone is now catching up. He's only got 3 seconds of tick. It's talked, and he's out.
For him right there, but still. Like rain, these shots are firing straight to the ground, and there is no umbrella to be able to stop the damage. Vino and Joe are looking too good here. 5 eliminations. No team I see at the moment is there healthy enough to wrap them up and try to contest them up top in this game. Milan finally down as well. Vico and Yaishu moving in, but they're also just completely confusing Razzled as to where to go. They're looking up, getting denied. Back's not looking too good either. All on Wood. Injury down to Krusty. They're falling down to the low ground. It's Fast Roki gets picked apart on the right side. Another big edit. Cone slide in, and Vico's making it look too good and easy. They have a little bit of control, and they might have a chance to go for that final 2v2.
This could be the first time they make a finals. These are the newcomers, the pop-offs of the season. Vico been streaming everything all season, making... And this could be their time to shine, but up on high ground, Vino and Joe are getting the height taken from them. Vino's got no materials, so he has to drop down as the 1v1 goes up onto the height. It's a solo. I gotta think it's maybe hard find, but Vino starts to go up with the swing, and the huge shot up down, and the massive down below. Vino has been training the aim since All Stars. He's hitting the shots that matter. It's a 2v1 situation. This is a highlight moment of his career right now to qualify him through for the finals. It's a 1v1 because Joe has gone down at the backside of the zone, and it's gonna go to Vino and Joe with 8 eliminations.
Vino, that was insane. A swing, a hit, no misses, just bangers from the man, and that is how you qualify to finals.
That is a highlight play for the books right there. The swing up onto height using the Spider-Man, the max damage, the drop to low ground, another max damage, absolutely clinical. This is why people rate this player so high for Vino.
That is the best play of the entire chapter, possibly, that I've seen in semifinals in general. We've had
practice. Let's go practice. But after seeing that, let's go practice.
I'm the one that found it.
Yeah.